And then I did a real bad one, and it was all in front of me. So you know how you just kind of like roll your line to make it go straight? So I just went like this, and the fucking thing just went, whoa!
Oh yeah.
30 feet.
This is on your forward.
Okay, anyhow,
On my
Friday Night
6-way.
Flies, you're live, bro.
I'm live. Friday Night Flies.
You've been, you've been live for a little bit. So
Oh, yeah?
Just yeah. Anyhow,
It's all good.
take it
Just
away,
talking about
Scotty.
fishing lines. I'm Boulder. Thanks for joining us Friday Night Flies at 1380 Birch Street, which is Spud Valley Sporting Goods. If they don't got it, you don't need it. And I'm not wearing my fish finder hat today, but we are brought to you by Permanent Fish Finder, where we talk trout. I'm a guide, Brad's a guide, Scotty Holmes is a fan, Sheridan used to be a guide, and we're all just fishermen. But I'm tying up a pattern that's been crushing cutties and rainbows on the river during this time of season, high water, and it's going up and down crazy, and sometimes that means it's getting muddy. So if we go downstairs, well, I'll show you a little bit about it.
Sorry, I was just making sure that we got audio.
Yeah, so this is my little high water pattern right here. The salmon fry are hatching right now. A lot of the streamers that we've been tying lately, like the Moto Minnow and the Montana Mayhem and things like that, have been really big. See, Holmes have been large, and now this one's on a smaller scale. It's more to what the salmon fry are looking like in size-wise. But this I've been throwing when it gets muddy out. You got a nice pearly, flashy attractor body with a nice orange head as a strike indicator for the fish.
Oh, hey, another thing, man. Anvil, come on, man. Send us another vise. We've got like 300 videos out there, and every time we're using your vise, we've got to pull it apart with pliers. Come on.
Yeah.
Or so there's got to be a fly tying company out there that makes great vices.
Yeah, who has a new vice?
That's right. Throw it
new
up,
vice
man.
company that wants to see demoed on Friday Night Flies.
That's right. There, we can put your logo right on the head of the vice, and it'll be there for everyone.
It will get used. Anyway, so yeah, this has been a great pattern for me. And we're going to start. Get your bead on. Get your thread in there. And we're going to start with the tail. So I bring my thread to just past the hook point there. And we're going with this mallard flank in the wood duck color. Grab yourself one of these bad boys with some nice plumage. And you know what? I'm going to save that one for Brad's BK dragonfly nymph for the collar there. And then I picked something that's a little shorter that I can use up. There you go. That'll make a good tail. You get rid of all this fluff on the back. And then all that I do is I'm going to pick and pull it up so that your fibers are kind of the same length. Peel it off the stem. And depending on the length of your stem, this one's pretty short, so I'm going to double up. So I'm just going to match up my tips, pull it back, peel it off. I'm pretty good with that. Now what I've been doing with it is giving it a little roll with my thumb so it kind of doesn't all go the same way and it sprays out a little bit. And I'm going to get this bad boy.
Is it in your way? Sorry,
onto the back here. So it's about the length of that hook shaft from behind the bead. I'm just going to wrap all that stuff right up the whole shank here. Not a big deal. Alright, let's just clean this up a little bit. These little hard taggy bits of that wood duck. Alright, next is some ribbing. It's a really easy fly. So I got myself some copper wire here.
Man, we're using that wood duck mallard flank in everything.
I use it a lot.
Dude, that stuff is deadly.
I use it in a lot of my nymphs. All my minnow patterns. Use it a lot in spay flies too, but in the bright colors, obviously, not the wood duck color. Alright, so we got the wire along the top there. Next is this diamond braided pearl thread that we have. And this happens to be white.
Which ones was it?
I'm going to get it tied on.
Yeah, you know what? I thought it should hasn't come in yet. It should be here any day.
Right behind the bead. Now, this part here, you're going to kind of be careful. We're going to build a thread base underneath this because this pearl diamond braid does go sort of translucent, so you can play with it. Like if I tied in red underneath, the red will show through when it gets wet. So it's a neat way of kind of building in multiple colors within your fly. But I want this one to stay white, so I got to put a good white thread base on here. There we go. So that way, when it gets wet, it'll stay white. And then we just work this up. Now, when you're working with this thing, it's a lot better to put it on a bobbin and wind it straight up and over how I'm doing. If you try to do it like this, like you would use a normal bobbin, it ends up twisting up. It doesn't lay on there so nice. This way that diamond braid stays flat, covers it a little bit better.
Tricks of the trade right there. You heard it from the man.
Alright, so just get that up behind the head. And now I have done some where I've gone in, and this one happens to be the same as this one, but you can go in there and build up that base. You know, either keep going back and forth with thread, or I just buy some cheap white binding thread, kind of like butcher's twine, and I separate the segments. Oh, here you go. There's some of Brad's stuff. So all rope is all, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, it's all different segments that are just twisted together. So if you want, it's not going to work with your rope.
You're gonna get it right up the head.
Yeah. So if you want, you can go and separate it, and then you can use this to build up so you're not sitting there winding forever with a little thread. If you want it to be a little bit thicker. And I've done a couple like that in my box that have a little bit more of a taper profile up to the bead. They work just as well as this one does. It's just how much time you want to put in it. Alright, so you got a good ribbon going on in there. You got a good 8 or 9 wraps up. And now we're going to build our wing, which is simply a few pieces of pearl flash. So what I like to do for this is I probably grab, what was it? I grabbed 3 of the green. Now this combo is what I found worked best. I did some that were heavy all green and some that were all purple, but 3 of the green. And then I got this beautiful purple stuff here. Give it a little bit of pearlescence. And I grabbed just 2 of those as a hint of something else in there. So get them all together, fold the whole clump over, match up those ends somewhat. Cut those loops. And now, some of my ends are, I don't want them even, but I want them somewhat the same. Alright, so I'm going to put this on my fly here. So I want them just about the same length as that tail. Trap them right on top, couple good wraps. Fold over those tags, couple good wraps. Now this is where I'm going to make sure I get them all on top. Just hold them back. I'm just going to back wrap just a little bit here. That's going to really secure those and put those down along my fly. And then I'm going to come in and trim those extra ones that are a little longer. And like I said, I don't make them square. Just kind of randomly do them. That's what we want. Now to finish this off, we just grab a little of this gumming. So I got it in this kind of a, kind of like a natural polar bear color. And I'm just going to loosely get this on my thread. And I don't want it to go on there too tight. Let's just shorten this back up here because I want it to be able to bug out pretty good. Just put a little bit of that right behind the bead. A couple other little turns in there to skewer it.
Lock it down.
Lock her down. Once, twice. Then I go in with my Velcro. What I like to do is make sure I push with my thumb and make sure I've gotten everything behind that bead. Just use your thumbnail. That way, when you hit it with your Velcro, you know it's not up on the bead. So just rough it up. It'll incorporate itself into that wing a little bit.
That's a killer little minnow pattern, man.
And all that I've been doing with this thing is putting it in the pocket and holding it.
Really?
And just wait.
No kidding, eh?
Because I have no weight on it or anything, so I've been using it with really aggressive sinking tips.
So, like, what length leader are you running on that?
Pretty short leader still. Maximum, I usually start at about 5 feet for me. I do one full stretch of my arms. It's just over 5 feet. And then, you know, as the day goes on, it gets shorter and shorter. Once it gets to about 4, I add a little bit more back on there again. And then using a type, either a type 3 or a type 6 are the two different sinking tip lines that I'm using it on. I put it in the pocket depending on how fast that water is, and just hold it there and let the current play with it right on the edge of the seam.
And then boom.
And just wait for the big hook.
You know, the funny thing is, if you watch salmon fry, they sit in the pocket and they just kind of hover there.
Yeah.
Until they see something that's like trying to eat them, and then they
dart. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly like you're saying, they just sit there.
Yeah. So that's what I really started trying to do. Like the stripping was starting to fail a little bit, so started just holding it there. And
anyhow, Scotty Holmes isn't going to tie tonight because he's running home to get his pontoon boat together. Guess what we're doing? We're going to do a little testing of that dragonfly nymph.
Yeah, I'm going to steal a couple of those out of your box this time.
Okay, buddy, let's sign up.
All right, so I'm Boulder. It's Friday Night Flies. Thanks for watching this. Try these flies out. Definitely look at the BK Dragon Nymph that Brad just tied. It's going to be the pattern to be using in the next week or two as all these dragonflies are starting to emerge and roam around the water. But other than that, see ya. Get out of here.